Hello, fellow educators. My name is Samantha Chauncey, and I'm a biologist and instructor at a beautiful community college here in North Carolina. And today I want to talk to you about the enduring and necessary focus on constructivism and experience-based learning. I'll leave you with some strategies on how to implement it as well. This video is for all who educate. The story of constructivism and that focus on experience-based learning is a long one. It may have been Aristotle who first wrote about it in 350 BC when he said, "For the things we have to learn before we can do them, we learn by doing them." I'm often reminded of this quote as a parent when my daughters want to try something new and dangerous. And I realize if she's going to learn how to use that knife safely, she has to use the knife. My oldest is in driver's ed right now, and if she's going to learn how to drive that car safely, she has to drive the car. Thomas Aquinas was inspired by Aristotle, and in the 13th century, he focused on learning through discovery. He also focused on individual intellect and realized that learners bring different sets of prior knowledge to us, and that prior knowledge affects what they construct from the experience or from the discovery. Since Aquinas, many philosophers have continued to focus on epistemology and that value of experience-based learning. Piaget laid the groundwork for constructivism and really coined the term and said that students construct or build knowledge best through experiences. Vygotsky built on Piaget's work through his social constructivist perspective, where he said, yes, the experience is very important, but the social interactions during that experience are equally important in constructing knowledge. And John Dewey built on all of these ideas, and his career-long focus on epistemology and constructivism contributed many publications and works, and he even opened a school called the Lab School where he tested these ideas, and then he wrote extensively about that. But there are many critics of Dewey's work, and the main critique is that his work was too vague. There was no implementation, there was no how-to, and so instructors and schools were still not sure how to implement those ideas. All of this led to our modern focus on STEM education. The promise of STEM education was that it was supposed to be a model for how to integrate the disciplines and use science as that foundational tool for providing the experiences that students needed to learn. And it has been effective in many ways. It's definitely one of the most well-funded educational movements in history, and more students are choosing STEM careers and majoring in STEM fields. But we still see largely poor performance on national tests in science, math, and reading, and so we haven't realized yet that full potential that integrated STEM education could give us. And the complaint there, research shows, is really the same one, is that there's a lack of how-to, a lack of implementation on how we integrate or use STEM ideals to integrate the disciplines in today's classrooms. So I'll leave you with two key strategies that are working. The first is in literacy through science. Literacy through science has been very effective in using science like you see here. This is a field study where this student is collecting different types of seeds, almost like a scavenger hunt. And she's holding her seed pod in her hand, as you might be able to see. She's so excited to have found this because prior to this, I've given the students a little background knowledge, and they know that seed pods usually explode and release their seeds, so they're all really excited when they find these. And notice how she's pairing that up. She's found this information in her informational text, and she's looking this up and she's reading about it. Notice how engaged she is. This is extremely effective in teaching reading comprehension. The second strategy I've kind of pioneered here at the community college or in North Carolina, and that is building these strategic community partnerships for specific learning outcomes, specific teaching. Here I'm partnering with Fish and Wildlife. I'm showing you two different field study labs that I did. In the middle picture there you see Bernard, who's holding a huge carp fish that we were able to get through electrofishing. This is the first time Bernard's ever held a fish. This lab transformed Bernard. He is now the STEM coordinator for our college and working on an MBA in international business. And it was transformational for a lot of my students. It still is. In the last picture you see there, Mark, Fish and Wildlife Officer, is doing an awesome lesson on bears and population control and conservation strategies. And if you look down at the table, that first student there, look at his mouth open. He's just blown away by this presentation that Mark is doing on bears. And these types of experiences have taught me so much. And you see a few other ideas. I've partnered with municipalities, energy companies, beekeepers, farmers, and I've been able to bring my students epic experiences. So I encourage you to use these strategies and keep going, because experience-based teaching works.